we go. Hello, everyone. Are we live? We should be. Yes, okay. Hello, everyone. Hello, hello, hello. And welcome to chapter 11 of Girl, Women, Other from Bernard and Evaristo. This is our 11th live reading of this book. And we're going to wait 1 more minute. Let's see who's coming on the live on Instagram. And see if anyone is coming. And after that, the live will be available on my Instagram account, on my feed, in my Instagram account, and but also on YouTube, on my YouTube channel. If you prefer watching this live on YouTube, it's a little bit better organized because there is a whole playlist of just the live reading of this book. So it's easier, I guess. And of course, if you want to be able to attend these live on Zoom, because I record them as well on Zoom, you can join the book club. For that, you have to join the book club. But of course, in the meantime, you're not sure, you can definitely watch this either Instagram or on YouTube. And then if you feel like you want to improve, to be able to, if you want to be able to speak with me in our after my live reading, and each week, and also on my weekly meetup, where it's only discussion about the book, but also discussion about any topics that the book is mentioning. And it's always a great way to engage with the people, with the members of the book club, and a great way to practice your speaking skills. If you don't have the opportunity to speak English at home in your hometown, or if you can't travel, for any reasons, basically. So I'm going to start now doing a quick recap of the first chapters of the book. So we are now in part 4, and we have read so far the first 3 parts of the book, in which we have discussed different characters. So in part 1, we discovered the characters Amma, Yaz, and Dominic. Yaz is Amma's daughter, and Dominic is Amma's friend. So they are, all of the characters have an African background, Black background. They are either from Africa or the Caribbean, originally from the families, originally from the Caribbean or Africa, South Africa, North Africa, any parts. And then we follow their stories, and they're all linked to one another, as you can see here in the first chapter, in the first part 2. is about Carol, Bummy, and Letitia. Bummy is Carol's mother, and Letitia was Carol's friend in high school, but they stopped being friends. I mean, Carol decided that she didn't want to be friends with her because she wanted to, after a very traumatic experience, she decided that she wanted to get her life back and start and be a serious or a very dedicated, very a student that is focused on her studies. And to the contrary of Letitia, who after after her dad left the family home, she completely she started behaving like like this, yeah, school didn't matter, and she was just there to have fun and have fun with boys. And she found herself having 3 kids by the age of 21. And then after that, she learned her lesson, and she started working again after being aware of Carol's success in life. She decided to turn her life back around, and she decided to work hard as well, and became um, and she became a supervisor in a supermarket, and she was able to support her 3 children, her family, basically. In part 3, we learn about Shirley, Shirley, Winsome, and Penelope. Winsome is Shirley's mother, and Penelope is Shirley's work colleague. Yeah, colleague. Yeah, of course, colleague, work colleague. She's a work friend, let's say, and they become friends with time, because at first they don't really get along. But with time, Shirley starts to change her perception on teaching, because they're both teachers, and they start becoming friends towards the end of Shirley's, after many years of teaching experience. Shirley starts becoming a little bit bitter with the work and with this job, and not really enjoying it anymore, and start feeling the same as Penelope. And so they start getting along. And part 4 now. Part 4, we have started with chapter 10, Megan Morgan. So that was a very interesting a very interesting chapter. Sorry, I was missing the word. So that was a very interesting chapter, because we were wondering who was Megan or Morgan. Who were there 2 people? But I'm gonna spoil here. It's actually the same person, because here we are talking about, we're learning about the story of Megan, who was born a girl, but she doesn't feel like it's her body, and instead and she discovers with time and finding a community, the LGBT trans, the LGBTQ community, and she meets they meet Bibi, who is a trans gender person, who was born a boy and she became a girl. And but for Megan, it's not really male or female. She doesn't define herself as male or female, but as a non-binary person. So she still decides to change her name to Morgan, which is maybe a name that is as feminine and masculine. And so probably that's the reason why she chooses, and she decides to to use the pronoun they, which is often the case for people, non-binary people. But that can be a little bit confusing when especially when we were reading the last part of the chapter, to get used to the fact that when the text was saying they, it was actually about her. So that was a very an interesting, enlightening topic for people, and can be also a topic that that people can relate to, especially if you feel like you belong to this community, and that you really relate to her story and the struggle that she had to come through, to fight against her parents' views and not really understanding where understanding, yeah, her journey, understanding her journey, or what to say, yeah, or just understanding the fact that she felt that she didn't belong to that body, and which can be something that it's might be difficult for some people to understand, because we live in a very binary world. So it might be something that it's hard for some people to understand. So yeah, that was chapter 10. And today we're going to read chapter 11, which is about Hattie. Hattie is Megan, former, and then Morgan, Megan's great grandmother. And she is also called Gigi. She in the chapter 10, Morgan called her Gigi. So here's her story. Let's go. Her name is Hattie, but everyone calls her Gigi. She's 93 years old and is sitting at the dinner table with her large family around her. On either side of her are her two children, Adame and Sonny, who are both in their 70s. Then there are their seventh grandchildren, who are all in their 40s and 50s. A few of her great-grandchildren are there too. They are in their 20s and 30s, and Hattie does not know how much many of does not know much about many of them. Her great-grandchildren are sitting at another table, but Hattie cannot remember most of their names. Can you believe that? Great-grandchildren. Then there are the newborn babies whose names Hattie. Then there are the newborn babies whose names Hattie knows she will forget in a few hours. Everyone is eating their Christmas lunch cooked by Hattie with some help from Morgan and Bibi. There is a Christmas tree with presents underneath it. Hattie does not like presents. She thinks that Christmas, which now has no connection with religion, should be called Greedymas. She tells her family not to give her presents, but they do not listen and continue to gift her things like gloves, tissues, and slippers every year. She does not need presents. She already has everything she needs. And there is only one thing she wants: Slim, her husband. But nobody can bring him back. That's so sweet. Hattie knows her family are waiting for her to die. Hattie knows her family are waiting for her to die. Adame and Sonny think they will get a big inheritance from her. Inheritance is properties or money that you get from people who are dying. Like you're a descendant, so you get the money. Hattie is happy to know they will not receive the farm. Greenfield's farm has been in her family for over 200 years, and she knows they will just sell it to make some money quickly. She does not want that to happen. Most of her family do not deserve to inherit anything from her, except for Morgan and Bibi. Nobody comes to the farm to visit her from one Christmas to the next. Why should she give anything to any of them? Hattie looks around the table at her family. Her grandchildren all look more white than black because Sonny and Adame both marry white people. None of them identify as black, something she knows would make Slim sad if he were still alive. Hattie does not care how they identify. The only thing that upsets her is the way her family treated Chimango when Julie first brought him home. He was an African man from Malawi, and her family, who were whiter with every generation, did not want to become black again. Hattie enjoys Morgan and Bibi's visits. It did not surprise Hattie when Morgan told her that she was not a man or a woman. Hattie has known lesbians before, so she was never going to have a problem with Morgan. But Morgan spoke using words that Hattie had never heard before, and it was all very confusing. Have you been to see a doctor? Hattie had said to her once she finally finished talking. You sound mad, dear. Morgan did not say another word. They walked back to the house in silence, and her and Bibi left a day early. Hattie does not have a problem with Bibi either. It does not matter to her that Bibi was born a man because Hattie has never known her as anything but a woman. Morgan did not visit the farm for 2 months. When she next arrived, Hattie sat her down and said, Look, I was born in the 1920s. You can't expect me to understand what you're talking about. Just be who you want to be, and let's agree not to talk about it. Hattie thinks it is funny because nothing has really changed about Morgan since she became non-binary, except that she changed her name from Megan to Morgan, which Hattie did not mind, and asked to be called they instead of she, which Hattie refused to do. Yeah, the pronoun might be a bit tricky. Hattie's children have had hard jobs all their lives, and it has ruined their bodies. Adame has a bent back from a factory, and Sonny has problem breathing after working in bars filled with cigarette smoke. It was not supposed to be like that. Hattie and Slim had wanted Adame and Sonny to work on the farm with them, where they would have stayed healthy and strong. But they both rejected the farm. Hattie understands that life was difficult for them growing up as Black children in a mostly white village. The children in the village were cruel to them because, of course, because of the color of their skin, and they would often come home from school in tears. Slim did not have any sympathy for them when they did this. Slim was an African American man who had seen his brother killed by white people in America because a white woman lied and said he raped her. Slim thought that life was harder for Black people in America than it was in Britain. And he did not want to hear his children complaining about children being mean to them at school. Hattie realized that her children did not like being Black. Adame started to paint herself as a white child in pictures. And Hattie once heard Sonny tell a boy that Slim was just someone they hired to help them on the farm. Oh. When Adame and Sonny were 16 and 17, they announced they would be leaving home. "We're leaving today, and you can't stop us," said Sonny. "We're not going to spend another day working on this farm," said Adame. They left and moved to London, but they did not stay there for long. Sonny found work in a shop, and Adame worked in the kitchen of a hotel. There were a lot of other Black people in London, but they were all immigrants, and they did not like Sonny and Adame, who they accused of being just like white people. They left London after only 3 months, and Hattie was happy when they moved to Newcastle, which was only 70 miles from the farm instead of the 300. There, Adame married Tommy, the first man who asked her. He promised to love her despite her color. How nice, how charitable. Sonny married Janet, who worked in a bar and whose parents did not like him because of the color of his skin. They told Janet to choose. Hattie had met Slim in 1945 at a dance in Newcastle for Black American soldiers who were due to be sent back home to America. The boys in her village did not like Hattie because they thought she was too dark. But compared to the Black girls in America, Hattie's skin was light, and Slim liked her because of that. He asked her to dance, and they were married within a year. Slim stayed in Britain with her, and although he did not like the weather, he did like the people. He said he felt safer in Britain than he did in America because he did not have to worry about white people trying to kill him for being Black. Despite the fact that there was racism as well in the UK, still some Black people preferred to live in the UK or in Europe because it wasn't as harsh as living in America, because the history of slavery in America and the Jim Crow laws as well. I mean, they come later, maybe in the 60s, but with the segregation, that came later. But the history between Black and white people in America is so divided, and the fact that people just allow themselves just to chase Black people and just kill them was and the fact that these white people felt free, felt entitled to kill Black people was a big thing in America, was something that was completely legitimate. Or yeah, so yeah, it was with no consequences, is frightening, and much, and taken to the extreme compared to Europe. Even though there were racism, it wasn't to the point of chasing and killing people. Yeah, that's America is just mad. Was That was mad. uh where was I? But it doesn't justify the fact that there were racism as well in the UK or in Europe. um when the children were small, Hattie and Slim lived with her parents and worked on the farm together. Hattie always had a good relationship with Ma. They were more like friends than mother and daughter. Ma always said she missed her own mother, Daisy, who died young. Ma did not know who her father was, only that he was an Ethiopian man called Wolde. Oh, we saw that name, Wolde, but I cannot remember. It's linked with another character somehow. Maybe. We will get back to this. I can't remember who that character, where I saw this one. Hi. So where was I? Yeah. When Ma became sick, Sonny and Adame were still very young. Ma was so sad that she would not be able to watch them grow up and that they will be too young to remember her properly. When Ma died, Pa followed her soon after. His heart failed, and Slim agreed that it had been broken. Before Pa died, he told her something. You belong on this farm, Harriet Jackson. This isn't just our farm. It belonged to your grandfather and great-grandfather and all the grandfathers before him. They worked hard to give us this farm, and you must give it to Sonny when he's old enough so it stays in the family. After Pa died, Slim looked through his files and found information about Hattie's family, who had once owned the farm. Hattie's relatives had taken slaves from Africa and sold them in the Caribbean. Slim was angry when he found this out. How could you keep such a terrible secret from me? Slim asked her. I didn't know, said Hattie, but it wasn't me or Pa who was responsible for it. Terrible things happened in my family's past, but now you own the farm. Maybe this is a way of making those wrongs right. Ah, I didn't realize that Hattie, yeah, so Hattie has a white background. Um, yeah, because there's no much information about um her description. Um, yeah. Only the information, only the fact that she inherited the farm and that her farm belonged to the family for for generation. So that probably explained that she is white. Or maybe no, had met Slim in a dance for black people who were just they meet at a dance for black American soldiers. So I know Hattie's skin. Oh no, no, yeah, yeah. We talked about but compared to the black girls, Hattie's skin was light. Okay, no, no, she's actually brown. Sorry. I had a just a doubt here that she was I thought that, yeah, but probably because I don't know. Anyway, yeah, she's probably mixed race or something. I don't know. Um maybe I missed something. Anyway, I didn't know that. Oh yeah, but it wasn't me or Pa who was responsible for it. Terrible things happen in my family's past, but now you own the family, the farm. Sorry, you own the farm. Maybe this is a way to making those wrongs right. This is a say in English saying that this is a way to repair what has been uh, damaged in a way, to just give back to the right people that belongs to. Anyway, um it's been sorry, it's been about 70 years since her father died, and Hattie is still taking care of the farm. She will not give it to Sonny, who does not deserve it, but she will make sure it stays in the family, but giving it to Morgan and Bibi instead. She's keeping this a secret because she knows her children will not be happy when they discover they have lost their inheritance. Hattie knows all about keeping secrets. She has kept bigger ones before, like the child she gave birth to when she was just 14. Bobby was the father. He was the most popular boy in her school. He and the other boys did not even look at Hattie, but then, for about 30 minutes, Bobby did. That was short, but long enough to make a baby. However, after they had sex, Bobby started to ignore her again. Pa was so angry when he found out, but Ma seemed happy. She had always wanted another child. When she gave birth, Hattie named the baby Barbara, and Ma helped to look after her. But Pa was not happy. One day, he came to the bedroom and took the baby from Hattie. You must never tell anyone about this child, Pa told her. Your life will be ruined if you keep it. Men will have two reasons not to marry you. One being black and the other one to have that she has a baby. Hattie did as Pa said and never told anyone about her secret baby. Not Slim, not Adame or Sonny, not anybody. And that's the end of chapter 11. Oh, tomorrow will be chapter 12 about grace, and this is the last character that we discover, because after that it's called After Party, chapter 13, and chapter 14 is the epilogue. So epilogue is, for those who don't know, the epilogue is basically what's after. It's a little bit of maybe sometimes 10 years later, or you learn about the characters later, years later. Ah, hi Sandrine. So it's that's the epilogue. So tomorrow we will be reading about Grace, which is the last character, new character. And I don't know who Grace is. Called Woldy. Oh, okay. It's related to Hattie. Grace's father was a sailor from Ethiopia called Wolde. So Wolde is someone that we talked about. Ma says she was missing her own mother. Oh, is it Hattie's? So Wolde is Hattie's dad, and is Ethiopian. So Grace. So okay, let's get this correct. So Hattie never knew about her father. Ma always said she missed her own mother, Daisy, who died young. Ma did not know who her father was, only that he was Ethiopian. He was an Ethiopian man called Walde. So, okay. Okay. So, yeah. So, Walde was Hattie's father. So that's me. That probably means that Grace is Hattie's stepsister, a half sister. I don't know. That's gonna be interesting. We'll see. We'll see tomorrow. I hope that you enjoyed the reading of this chapter. Uh, and it's not as exciting as the other stories. It's about a great grandmother talking about her family and her mother, and talking about inheritance, and the family farm she inherited. So it's it's a character that is older than the other ones, but still interesting, because it also shows that sometimes we would think that that the older generation find it hard to understand, the issues of the gender issues or identity issues, and but actually, and those type of evolutions of society, and somehow, yeah, modernity or things like that. But actually, is it modernity? No, not really in that case, but some things that evolve in society in terms of gender identity or other things. But actually, not really she's actually quite open to it, and I mean, to a certain extent. She doesn't understand all the different layers and all the detail, all the doesn't really understand in depth, but it doesn't really matter for her as long as you're still you, and the fact that you are now non-binary, or you love who you love, it doesn't matter really to me. I find it hard to understand. She finds it hard to understand, but it doesn't really matter because she accepts her anyway. So it tells us, it teaches us as well that you don't need to understand, to fully understand what someone is going through, or someone's choices in life, as long as this person doesn't do any wrong to you or doesn't hurt you, or if this person is still the same in a way, or yeah, is still the same, then this is all that matters, really, that matter, that all that matters, sorry, really. So yeah, I think that's a good lesson. This Hattie is teaching us a very good lesson of tolerance and acceptance on the other people. So this is why it's often good to listen to older, wiser people, because they know what's important. They definitely know what matters, and what we should pay more attention to. In the end, she doesn't. It's funny because she'd rather to give it to her great-granddaughter than to her own children, because she feels like they don't deserve it. They don't deserve the inheritance. And I think the more you're getting older, the more you're getting old, the wiser you become, and older people are very wise. Not everyone, unfortunately, but this Hattie is a wise one. So on this final word, I'm going to leave you today with this chapter and the character of Hattie. And if you want to be part of the conversation and be part of this book club and chat more about the book, then I encourage you, if you enjoyed this live, then I encourage you to join the book club and be part of the conversation and practice your English, improve your English, no matter if you're a beginner or a more advanced learner, if you have a more advanced knowledge of English. Actually, it's we all learn from everyone. So if you have any questions as well, please drop me a DM, ask me any questions, whatever, and or leave me a comment. What you prefer, what's best for you. So in the meantime, I will see you tomorrow for chapter 12. Bye bye.